So listen, I know we've talked a lot when we check out the police videos about like internal affairs or investigations on police departments, right? Well, sit back and relax today. Because today what I have for you is a video, right, that's going to break down an investigation, unfortunately, on a police department that's not too far from me. Roswell Police Department. The title of the video is called Secrets Inside Roswell Police Department. Now, I'm going to briefly read you a piece of the description, right? It says this 15-minute video is short a compilation of the hours of investigation 11 Alive has produced on the Roswell Police Department. A year-long investigation by a one-man band investigative reporter revealed institutional and systemic failures inside a large metro Atlanta police department. By cultivating internal police sources, I ain't gonna the name Brandon, able to demand specific hidden public records that uncovered the following scandals the Roswell Police Department tried to keep secret from the public. It's time to wake up, people. You know what I mean? I hold the police department up here. So, you know, a lot of times I don't be wanting to believe it either, bro. These are the people you look to protect and serve. So I don't be wanting to see that. I don't be wanting to, you know what I mean, think that that's possibly going on. But the reality is, it is. And we can't continue to turn a blind eye to it. You know what I mean? We have to face those facts and realities. So we're going to check this video out, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, man. That just shows that you appreciate the content, man, as much as I appreciate you guys. All right? And then just one more thing, man. After I show my appreciation to y'all, we got to do something for the haters. Can't leave them out. So moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Run the likes up, baby. Make sure y'all run those likes up. Let's get to the video.
Our investigations of the Roswell Police Department have reverberated across the nation.
Even just hearing that, knowing how close that is to me, bro, just sends chills down my body.
And around the globe. We broke the stories of a driver arrested for speeding on the flip of a coin, a police dog attacking a young suspect, and a 13-year-old boy who was intentionally left in the cold.
Getting cold yet? Because I've got heat in this car.
To extract a confession, all in Roswell. Tonight, there's more body camera footage with intentionally muted microphones and hidden documents, all showing a police department that treats its officers far different than the citizens they're sworn to protect. A Roswell police officer pulls over a speeding car before discovering the driver is a buddy from the same department.
Hey, it's Ramuna.
Hey, man.
Hey, sorry, man.
What are you doing?
I just hit it for a second.
Officer Danny Ramuna was stopped for speeding and reckless driving.
I just hit it for a second. I'm sorry.
You know what kind of position you put me in?
No, I'm sorry.
Because I can tell you've been drinking, man.
I only had a drink. I'm sorry.
You only had a drink?
That's it.
Put your feet together.
I'm not doing any field sobriety.
That's fair.
So, but that's what it is.
Okay, that's perfectly fair. You know, you're right to do that.
Officer Johnny Burnett calls for a supervisor.
She's been drinking.
But when the lieutenant shows up,
Street on line.
It's okay. You are.
Okay.
the officer cuts the mic on his body camera. Where's the sound?
This ain't the first time we've seen that either. That happens a lot, bro. That cutting off of the mic, you know what I'm saying? It happens a lot. It's no wonder that these incidents don't happen more often.
It's gone.
Why would they do that?
Because they're gonna let him go.
Stay in the car.
Sarah Webb knows what it's like to be pulled over by Roswell police for speeding and reckless driving.
Turn off the car and pass me the keys, please.
2 officers arrested her on the flip of a coin.
A head, R tail.
Okay. Step out of the vehicle. Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Not heads or tails, bro. Your fate for getting arrested was solved between an old-fashioned game of heads and tails, bro. And then you wonder why, when these cops, some of them that turn dirty and they get put in the prison system, why these inmates go after them the way they do. Heads or tails, bro? Like on some Two-Face and Batman movie type sealed her fate?
Before any of these stories broke, we showed her the video of Officer Ramuno, also stopped for speeding and reckless driving, but unlike Webb, let go with a verbal warning.
Put me in a bad spot.
It's not your fault. I'm not mad at you.
They never raised their voice at him. They were very kind, gave him a break, yet the second that I started talking to her, it was just hostility.
Take a look at the two stops side by side.
Stay in the car.
Sorry, my window doesn't hold.
Officer Brown, Roswell Police Department. You know how fast you were just going, ma'am?
I'm so sorry, I'm late for work.
Hey, it's Ramuno.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm sorry, man.
Turn off the car and pass me the keys, please.
You know as well as I do, with no...
All right, now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Now, I'm not going to sit here in front. Her tone wasn't bad. Like, we got to get out of this sensitivity mode that we have as people, man. Like, that wasn't at all bad. Come on now. I can take it back if you really want to hear it. Like, we're gonna keep it real here. We're going to be honest, all right?
Stay in the car.
Sorry, my window doesn't hold.
Officer Brown, Roswell Police Department. You know how fast you were just going, ma'am?
I'm so sorry, I'm late for work.
Hey, it's
Maybe I'm desensitized to it then. But that right there isn't that much of a difference. Let's stop right there. Now, if you're wrong, you're wrong. We're going to call you out on that.
Ramuno.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm sorry, man.
Turn off the car and pass me the keys, please.
You know as well as I do, with no tests and the only evidence is some bloodshot, watery eyes, but you're crying about your sister, it wouldn't look good in court anyways. So there's no way that this would be useful at all. It wouldn't help you. It wouldn't keep anybody safe on the road. I mean, you're already home. But you have got to talk to somebody, man.
Were you given any benefit of the doubt like that officer was?
No.
Did they ask you what was going on in your life?
No.
Now that I can understand, you know what I'm saying? And yes, they probably did give him a little bit more cushiony conversation, or the tone was way more inviting than hers, but it wasn't hostile. We're not gonna say that lady approached her car. We've seen hostile. She didn't do hostile. They definitely did coddle him a little bit more.
Wrongs don't make a right. If we were wrong with Sarah Webb, like I say that we are, had we taken Daniel Ramuno to jail just because he was a Roswell police officer, that would have been wrong too.
Chief Rusty Grant has no problem with the way Roswell police handled the stop of one of their own.
I imagine you're doing a code 5. Now I have the case number.
Or the fact the case number was voided and replaced with a hard-to-find internal memo. Why no police report? Why no incident report?
Typically, if we write a warning or something similar to that, we don't write an incident report.
Do you always write a memo? Do you always have the officer write a memo?
No, we don't. And actually,
so why write a memo that isn't easy to find in public records, and not write an incident report that is easy to find in public records?
It wasn't to try to keep the information from anybody, because to be...
This was withheld from me until I specifically asked for it.
Right, well, the open records folks wasn't aware that existed, because they typically search a database, and that wasn't within the database.
And then was that in the intent of not having an incident report?
No, there was no attempt to cover this up or to hide this at all.
Why mute the body cameras then?
That's a good question.
You want this one paused too? It doesn't matter. I don't even know how to pause this thing anyway.
The body cameras were muted. We asked for all video, and the records department only gave us the body cam. And for a month more, we tried to get the dash cam, and it was refused. They didn't even respond to us. It turns out the dash cam caught some of the missing audio. That's right. Officer Burnett's wireless mic was still recording on the dash camera. We had to threaten a lawsuit to...
See? That's the thing, man. When you're trying to cover it up, bro, trying to make sure you dot every I and cross every T is pretty hard, man. Pretty hard.
Get this video, and now you can hear what they were hiding.
What do you want to do? He's already admitted he's been drinking. When he went to handle his girlfriend's wallet, he fell up against the car. And I told him, I was like, man, you put me in a bad spot. I agree.
Right before deciding to let Officer Ramuno go, they cut all the mics a second time, a feature the body camera vendor prohibits by default. Roswell police commanders had to actively choose to enable muting department-wide. Officers are muting their dash cam, muting their body cam, to talk about another officer and whether they're going to arrest him. There is only one reason to do that, and that's to avoid public scrutiny.
we're doing it the way that we think we should do it. We're not trying to hide anything, but it's not a cover-up.
He's not going to jail or anything. I'm parking the car.
Police park Officer Ramuno's car for him because, according to the internal memo, the two passengers were also intoxicated.
Just keep in mind, yep, I have a camera on, so just don't say anything.
Not saying a word.
Passenger who had bailed out of a stolen car and then gave up.
Handler literally should have hooked that dog up right there is where he made his mistake. And everything went downhill from this point forward.
Police wouldn't give us the dash camera video until this year because technically the case was still open. But now we can look back to...
All right, y'all, I can't show because they're cracking down for some reason about, people getting hurt or showing people receiving bodily harm on the video. So I cut out the part, but what actually was shown was a dog biting after the dude had given up and surrendered. The dog just still attacked him by the arm and just was shaking. You know how a pit bull latches on and then it just does that shake, like the death shake? You know what I mean? You know how the alligators have the death roll and the pits, or the dogs have like that shake? He was doing that to them. Dude was screaming. I'm gonna put the original link so you can go check it up. I just can't show it. They let them show it, but I show it. Oh my gosh, it's a big deal, and they want to take me down. So, but that's what happened. Now he can keep going.
2 years through a window in time to what police say was the critical moment. First, the officer says, "Come here." Play.
Come here right now.
Fast forward. Then the officer says, "Get down on the ground." Play.
Get on the ground.
But the officer doesn't say, "Get down on the ground on your stomach with your hands out." So the teen instead decides to sit on this curb behind a bush. Then he puts his hands up. But police say putting his hands up and hands down behind the bush constituted furtive movements that triggered the dog to deploy not only on his own without a command from his handler, Play, 2 attacks, no commands to apprehend, ignoring all commands to stop. The dog nearly biting his own handler in the end.
You don't normally see the dog come off of a bite of a suspect and then go after the handler.
He has received additional training, and I can't tell you it's because of that specific incident, but it was around that time.
Police Chief Rusty Grant's command staff cleared the officer and the dog.
If you can't control your dog, you're a liability. You are a liability magnet. You're going to get sued, you're going to hurt people, and your agency is going to write.
Roswell police pull over a golf cart in the middle of a January night.
How old are you?
I'm 13.
You're 13? Do you have ID on you or anything like that? What are you doing out here at 13 years old?
Oh, I think he totally stole it.
You can see ice clinging to the boy's arms. Weather records show it was 17 degrees, headed down to a low of 12.
Dang, it's cold.
Officers warm up inside their heated cruisers.
Oh, it's so cold.
It's cold out there.
It's chilly. Again, you're not under arrest. I'm just detaining you, okay?
And at first, Officer Cheryl Dickerson puts the boy in her heated patrol car.
I've got a 13-year-old detained right now.
I'm going to jail for nothing.
I didn't say you were going to jail. I said you were detained, okay? We're trying to figure out...
That's when you get handcuffed, you always go to jail.
That's not true.
He's not going to tell you the truth. He hasn't told you the truth since he met you.
Yeah, so I don't know, but he's 13 from what I...
All right, let's. At some point in time, do we say let's get the parents involved? What, like, at what point in time? And I don't know. I'm not a cop. So, at what point in time do you say, okay, he's underage, consent, the whole consent thing? When do we contact the parents? Because I show up and my kid is crying. My pissed off level is through the roof right now. I don't care what you tell me. I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna hear it out. Try to think logical. You know, it's cold, it's 17 degrees. He's crying. You got him detained in the back. It's the wrong way to start this whole thing off.
can tell. I mean,
24. Yeah, I think there's some issues there.
I'm going to say, listen to me. I'm not asking you what you go by. I'm asking you what your name is. I've about lost my patience.
I mean, he's lying to you.
Yeah, I'm going to call Sergeant Elsie.
Sergeant Daniel Elsie is called to the scene.
Facilitate
The sergeant immediately gets in the patrol car with the boy, turns off the heat, puts all the windows down, then sits in a cruiser with heat.
Yeah, he ain't gonna say anything if it's warm.
Oh.
So he can sit over there and be cold.
Okay.
That's why I rolled your windows down. Let him get a little chill.
Officers laugh in their warm patrol car while the 13-year-old boy is left to freeze.
Getting cold yet, Ann? You can take it cool. So can I, because I've got heat in this car.
He's freezing him out.
Yeah, I can see your breath. It's pretty cold back there. Keep telling me.
Is it cold in?
Stop right there. As a parent, what are y'all doing? When y'all see this, maybe you don't find out that night. Maybe you find out later on. What are y'all doing? What's happening? What's going through your mind? Yeah, I know. I hear a lot of y'all. I hear you. I might can't hear you, but I hear you. I know you would lose your mind.
In the car, you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing in there. Well, he's got all the windows rolled down and the heat off.
You gotta hang tight right here, since you can't remember Mom's phone number. And if I can make contact with Mom, then we'll get some heat going, all right?
Then Officer Dickerson cuts the mic on her body camera.
I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna mute this.
Sergeant Greg Freisen shows up and takes Sergeant Elzy for a walk. Records show he put a stop to the abuse.
Come on out. Put your head.
Did we find out where Mom was?
Yep.
This video was viewed more than a dozen times by Sergeant Elzy's supervisor. In the latest annual review, the lieutenant wrote, Sergeant Elzy did make a poor decision regarding the safety of a suspect, a poor decision that was not in line with department values. But supervisors also wrote, Sergeant Elzy sets a very positive example and gave him higher scores than the year before, much higher than Sergeant Freisen, who was credited with confronting him.
Are you serious? Why? Why? I need y'all to tell me why in the comment section he received a better rating than the cop that showed up and put a stop. Now, if this is overall for the year, then there's no possible way for us to know, you know what I'm saying, what they both do throughout the year. And this one incident, you know, may not jade everybody else's opinion on these two officers. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But if this is just based upon, and let me go back and listen.
A poor decision that was not in line with department values. But supervisors also wrote, Sergeant Elzy sets a very positive example and gave him higher scores than the year before, much higher than Sergeant Freisen, who was credited with confronting him.
Yeah, so it's total average. So it's no way. They threw that out there to kind of get us to see something different. We can't really make that assessment based upon a year. We didn't see a year of what took place in these two careers for that year for us to make it. So that's how they get you. You got to be able to decipher between some of the information that they throw out there to get you pissed off, get you riled up. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that to us. So we have to throw that out. I guess in court, they would say that's what? Admissible evidence.
Sergeant Elzy wasn't punished. He was rewarded with Supervisor of the Year. That's Police Chief Rusty Grant last April, who also signed off on the annual reviews in May. No internal affairs investigation of the...
Nah, I don't think him doing that gives him Supervisor of the Year. That one incident alone, I don't even care if everything else was good. That one incident alone, it might not get you fired or suspended or something, but it ain't gonna get you Supervisor of the Year. That's no.
The January incident was launched until July, days after we demanded copies of this video under the Open Records Act.
Chief Grant, when did you first learn about the intentional freezing of a 13-year-old boy?
Britton, I've told you that the investigations, that instance being investigated, and I'll get back with you when the investigation is complete.
With respect, sir, there was no investigation for 7 months until we asked for the video. Is that correct?
I'm not. There was an investigation, but beyond that, I'm not going to comment on that.
The Supervisor of the Year is now on paid administrative leave, but his picture remains on the wall of police headquarters right under the chief's.
Can't you be honest with the people?
they'd have never requested that, he'd have never received that suspension.
Of Roswell and say when you learned? Was it before you handed Sergeant Elsie?
I'm not being dishonest or trying to avoid your questions. Because this is an active investigation, and that's.
Are you under investigation? If you're not under investigation,
No, I'm not under
when you learned of this, should be immaterial.
The incident's under investigation.
The day after we demanded internal memos from the police department, the chief personally asked the GBI to criminally investigate his own officers. Roswell City Attorney has used that criminal investigation to keep secret the memos that would prove what the police chief knew and when he knew it.
You handed Sergeant Elsie the Supervisor of the Year in April. Did you know before that? It's a simple yes or no question.
I wasn't aware of all of the circumstances surrounding the incident.
But you knew of the incident.
I was aware.
Yeah, right. I smell bush.
Of an incident, but as with all the specifics of the incident, I was not aware of all the specific information in the incident.
The police chief knew when this photo was taken of the incident that is now the subject of a criminal investigation by the Fulton County DA.
I feel violated.
No, we don't care.
We feel violated when folks lie to us.
3 officers have been fired. The police department's Supervisor of the Year was demoted. The deputy chief suddenly retired. And this morning, the chief of police resigned.
You're going to be arrested for trespassing for showing up to a police awards ceremony?
They don't want you in there.
Oh, the only people who aren't allowed in are the press.
No.
Did you check invitations?
No. He's not press.
This is outrageous. You know it's outrageous.
You don't have any
in.
right to go to a ceremony.
We don't have any right to go to a meeting where the public is present and city council members are present in City Hall.
It's a private invited meeting.
Do you realize the chutzpah of a public official saying we can't be in City Hall?
Your garbage reporting doesn't do anything about this.
Garbage reporting. Is there something we've gotten factually wrong?
I'm not saying there is or isn't.
You're calling our reporting garbage reporting?
I have no problem with you myself being in there.
You just said called our reporting garbage reporting, Counselor.
Yeah, if you're trying to say that you're entitled to be in there, then it is.
Again, y'all, right down the road from me, not far. A hop, skip, and a jump, and I'm right there at Roswell. That's scary to me. That is scary to me, man. They making it to where you scared to leave the house these days, bro. Because you get pulled over by by an officer, you know what I mean? Right place, wrong time. Depending on how he's feeling, things can go bad. And let's not get it twisted, right? There are really, really good officers out there. You know what I mean? That shouldn't have to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. And those we're not taking nothing away from. But they are those who feel like when they put that badge on, that they're above everything, including the law. And that's scary. It is scary. This is crazy, man. Like I say, we continue to turn a blind eye to it because, you know, we hold them in such high regard. So we just act like it don't exist, but it does. Shout out to the good police officers out there, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought of this video, man. And this is crazy. Stick around and stay tuned, man. Until the next reaction, I'm out. Peace, y'all. Stay solid. Ayy.